No. I would like to welcome everyone to Alanthea. Alanthea is an unlikely world. It's at the start of its civilization. There are pockets of society that dot the largely unruly landscape, with large areas of dangerous and uncharted land between burgeoning cities. Monsters, bandits, cultists, other forms of danger lurk in the wilds on every continent as the cities fight to expand. You'll see that to the northeast of the large continent lies the Shifting Lands. Severe sunlight has parched the endless dunes here, with great sandstorms hiding and revealing ancient wonders and long-forgotten secrets. The hardy people that inhabit this region are largely miners by trade. The desert moves in and out of the metal mines in the area, with sand squalls and strong winds powering them. Travelers avoid the dry lightning and thunderstorms that rack the central and southeastern parts of the area. The biggest city in the region by far is the Hold. It's seated on a massive lake that leads southwest to a fertile rainforest. A chapter of the Rising Tide, an organization dedicated to advancing civilization throughout the world, is housed at the Hold. The Tide seeks out exceptional individuals who want to progress society and ward off the constant pressure from the largely untamed world. The organization has several chapters in most major cities throughout Alanthea. The newest chapter is being founded as our story begins, in the mining town of Jadara. Now, Jadara is situated around one of the many oases in the region, and is the latest and by far the smallest city to house the Rising Tide. Sandburn is treated as a badge of honor for the prideful citizens of Jadara, who sell crafts and materials in the market corner and enjoy a respite from work, booze, at Sandy Pitchers. A few miles outside the city, a bleeding goblin is hurrying through the desert, buffeted from both sides with wind and sand. Inside the city, however, is where we'll start. The sun has just risen, and the day is starting off rather cool. People are just leaving their homes to start what appears to be a normal day. I need each of you to roll for initiative.
Well, that's abrupt.
Oh yeah, starting off strong. Hit that 20.
Nice.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I forgot we're supposed to announce our roll.
Yes.
So I got me a 7.
Okay.
Cambio spend then my 5.
5.
17 for me.
17. Wonderful. So we will start with Olomaer. Olomaer, you wake just before dawn to the familiar cracking of thunder. You know your trip to Jadara is one that will be the beginning of your new life. The call to prove your mettle to the god Cord fills you with anticipation, and it was hard for you to sleep last night. You packed before you fell asleep, not wanting to waste time in the morning. You jolt awake and quickly grab your things. The temple is quiet. Everyone's still asleep. Most people don't get up before the sun. especially not if they're trying to honor the god core and prove themselves. You head out east towards the town with roughly an hour before the sun rises. It's dark, and the storms, as they haven't abated. Lightning cracks, thunder is everywhere, dust devils swirl around you. Can you give me a Constitution save, please?
Hit that 20 again.
Nice. Why don't you tell me what your character looks like?
My character is a young Fearbold. Still growing. He's about just under 7 feet tall. It's definitely muscular, getting stronger as the years go on, training and a focus on strength, but he's definitely not super cut. Sunburned nose, grayish tinted blue, like a light blue skin.
Okay. What's he wearing?
You could tell he's got some giant blood in him. Wearing chainmail, the fairly clean chainmail with a navy cloak.
Okay.
Beard, reddish brown, dark brown beard, holding a shield and a large blackened warhammer.
Nice. Yeah. So you strap your pack onto your back, and with a 20 Constitution save, you're able to swiftly make your way through the storm. You're familiar with this, and even though you are familiar with it, you know that if your god Cord has anything to do with the storms that are near, he wouldn't make it easy for you. So your familiarity with it isn't what saved you, but rather your hardiness and your strength of character. But nonetheless, you suffer no damage and are able to quickly make your way through. The sun is just starting to rise as you make your way out of the storm and go a little deeper in the desert towards Jadara. To probably another hour or so of walking. What are you doing on the walk?
Focusing on trying to make every step as strengthful and athletic as possible.
Sure.
To focus on trying to, again, build muscle,
right.
Build endurance.
Going for a workout on the walk. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it is a workout, right? Like the heavy armor is just another test for the god because it's hot. Well, it's not hot yet, but it's always hot. Out here is particularly tricky to be wearing that heavy armor, but you don't feel its ill effects, and this is something that you feel like you've trained for. As you make your way into Jadara, you arrive from the western side of town, and there aren't a whole lot of people who have started to populate the streets. You know that you're where you're supposed to be and the time when you're supposed to be there is rapidly approaching. You're supposed to be at the Rising Tide outpost an hour after sunup, and it's coming on that time. You make your way through the street, down the path. The dunes all around provide a level of defense from the elements. It's much less of a wind tunnel here, more of a bowl, right? Which way do you walk through town? Are you headed by the center, or are you just skirting the outside and cutting through?
Skirting the outside, cutting through.
Yeah, so you kind of walk the perimeter around the southwestern part of the city. You see a couple people starting to make their way into Sandy Pitchers, presumably having worked an evening shift at the nearby copper mines, but nobody really pays you very much attention. You make your way to the outpost. You see it's large, 20 feet tall, the first floor, with a smaller like capstone floor on top of that. No real markings, no signs, but you know this is the place. You see a large 15-foot tall wooden door that appears to be closed.
Is it about time?
Yeah.
And I approach the door and knock.
You approach the door and knock, but it doesn't appear as though anyone's there. So we're going to cut to Leto.
Okay.
Leto, yesterday was a long day. Your tribe of traders was heading to Pocono, to the northeast. However, you were going to Jadara, so they bid you farewell as you set off alone to the southwest. The stinging of the sand on the wind was a bit worse than it normally is last night, and it forced you to bed down before you made it into town. You're not sure if the weather was harsher because it was just a little harsher or because you were alone. Either way, just before the sun rises, you begin to pack up camp and head towards town. Do you have any things that you would do to do that, and any belongings you want to make sure that are important to you, you don't want to forget, or...
Yeah, so I think like as part of Leto's like morning routine, he's probably doing the normal druid connection to the land around him, but also have a number of animal skins in my satchel that I want to make sure haven't like frayed or been damaged by the dryness. Maybe putting a little oil on them to make sure they stay like supple, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, you go through in the morning, and it seems like it's more important. Like the first thought that you have isn't necessarily like I want coffee or I want breakfast. It's you're running through the things that are in your pack and making sure that the things that you need that set you apart from other people are in well working order. Why don't you give me a dexterity check, please?
All right. Just a check, not a saving throw?
Yeah, just a dex check. This is
and
with
that's
advantage.
a 13.
With advantage.
All right, and I'll show that again then. Still a 13.
Still a 13. Cool. Yeah, you do the once over on your skins. None of them seem to be particularly in poor order, but you give them a nice kind of rub down with the oil that you've made, I presume, or you buy.
I'd probably make it or like it's something that my tribe would have had a little bit on hand.
Right. Yeah. And that's early in the morning. As you pack everything up and grab some food from your pack to start the walk, is there anything that you do as you make your way through the desert?
Not too much. Am I experiencing the same kind of stormy weather that Olomaer had?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Where you are, I mean, there are as usual in this area, there's always a strong wind. There's always bits of sand flying, and you'll see the occasional dust devil off to the side. But there hasn't been anything that was out of the ordinary or strong.
Okay. Yeah, so as I'm traveling along, and my general outfit is I have sort of a...
Yes, please describe yourself.
Most of my clothing, except for my head wrap, is like the color is sand. It kind of blends in a little bit. It's kind of rougher spun, heavier, hardy clothing for the elements. And everything's like beige sand colored, except for my head wrap. I have a head wrap scarf that's bright, rich indigo. Mm-hmm. So that kind of covers my head, but all the way, everything is on my eyes, basically.
Right.
To shield it myself from the dust and the dirt and the sand coming in. And as you notice, as I walk her along, it's probably a little different than Olomaer. So I am trying to conserve my energy. So every time I get hit by wind, instead of trying to force my way through it, I'll like stop, and I might even sit down for a second, take a small sip of water,
Right.
and keep going. Be a little more conservative
Sure.
with my as I make my way through the desert.
Yeah, which is exactly why you decided to not push further into the storm last night and wanted to kind of bed down to set up camp.
Definitely.
There is you're familiar. So the problem is you are familiar with the destinations, but every time it's a little different, right? Part of the interesting an interesting aspect of the shifting lands is that because there's always these gusts of wind that obscure view and move dunes and kind of make it difficult for any landmarks to be put down. Um, so while you know where you're going, why don't you give me an intelligence or a nature check to help you guide yourself through?
All right. I think this is going to be the same for me. So let's roll
Okay.
intelligence. And that is a 16.
16, yeah. You kind of, as you're drinking, taking a sip of water, you kind of look up at the sun, see that it's just cresting where you think it should be, and have a pretty easy time making your way southwest into the town of Jadara. Um, you arrive coming from this direction. As you head down, there are you pass by several people on the road. They all appear to be heading out for the day. It is now about time to be at the rising tide, right? And they're probably heading to work, right? It looks like they're wearing their used, worn clothes and carrying small sacks. You can imagine with tools or maybe supplies to head out. The copper mines in this area are difficult to locate, and you guess that by seeing a group of 4 to 5 of them, it's best for them to travel together. Um, you make your way into town. Do you pass by the center, or are you attempting to skirt the outside?
I would probably pass by the center. So if I'm coming in from,
From
so
the
I'm
south?
headed from that region. Yeah. So I'd probably come in, and if I feel like I have time, I'd stop by the Oasis and maybe get a little extra water for my water jug. I'm always drinking a little bit of water in this dry,
Yeah,
dry
of
air.
course. Yeah, being of your Genasi descent, you love being near the Oasis. You love it because it's not only a part of you, but there aren't a whole lot of sources of fresh, cold, clean water. Something remarkable as you kind of dip your water skin into the Oasis is that it's always cool, despite how hot and sometimes dry the air can be out here. The water is always cool. It's always refreshing, and like the small patches of bushes and grass and trees that are around the oasis seem to be thriving. Uh, you make your way down south past the oasis after a minute or two, just kind of getting your bearings. You see a couple familiar faces that you kind of nod to, people who were leaving their homes and heading to the northwestern part of town to maybe set up their shops or fill their stock at the trading corner. Um, you approach the Rising Tide outpost and you see a very similar scene. You actually walk up as you see this large chainmail clad person kind of knocking on the door and waiting for a response.
All right. Yeah. So I'd kind of stare up at Olomaer, who have we met before?
I don't know, have you?
I don't believe we have. Olomaer.
Hello, my name's Leto. Are you here for the Rising Tide then?
In fact, I am. I assume you are as well.
Yeah, I kind of look around at the building, which I think you said might be kind of closed still. Is anyone around? Is it just us?
This part, I mean, there are people on the streets. Give me a perception check.
Sure.
As far as I can tell, I was the first one here.
That's a 15 for perception.
15, yeah. There doesn't appear to be any movement. There aren't any windows on this floor of the outpost, and the second floor, if there were windows, it's recessed back off the top. It's not a flat wall, right? So it would be hard to see in. But yeah, you don't notice any movement at all. And with that, I think we'll cut to. We will cut to Titus. So, Titus, you've checked every day on the progress of the new building in the southeastern part of town. You've spent nights probing the workers who were building the place at Sandy Pitchers to try to learn more about the group that's attempting to establish itself in Jadara. The morning comes quickly. You feel like as soon as you put your head down on the pillow, you open your eyes again. Your eyes shoot awake and you can feel the excitement as you get ready to sneak out of your house, trying not to wake your father. Did you pack the night before?
I would have packed the night before and also written a little note to leave with my father, basically saying, Dad, it's time for me to go. I've arranged with the Wainwright's wife to kind of keep tabs on you and take care of you when you need things. And I'll, so when I'm leaving, I'll leave that note with maybe a couple coins, small pile of coins,
Sure.
And slip out.
Yeah, give me, why don't you tell me what your character looks like?
Okay. Well, I am a human in my early 20s, kind of sharp, lean features, with kind of a mischievous grin and a twinkle in his hazel eyes.
Okay.
Dark hair that is currently that's kind of longer, about shoulder length, but it's currently covered up by the typical head wrap that we wear in this climate and such.
Mhm.
And I've got a simple tunic, some kind of billowy cotton breeches,
Mhm.
a vest that goes over the tunic that has a little bit of embroidery to it just to kind of snazz it up a little bit.
Sure.
Not anything super fancy or anything or expensive, but just so it's not
filthy.
super plain. Yeah.
And not dirty, not filthy. It just looks nice, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Cool. So you pick up your bag slowly and kind of creep to the center of the house in an attempt to leave. Why don't you give me a stealth check?
All right. That is an 18.
An 18, yeah. It's, you know to step over this and walk around that. You dodge the floorboard that creaks, and you successfully don your pack, drop the note, and creak open the door. You live in the northern part of the town. You would be in this cluster of houses there. Again, with these maps, the big, large buildings that are labeled are accurate. The rest of them are representations. There are more than 30 houses or however many houses are here.
Well, right now,
Go ahead.
sorry, right now, oh, there we go. I was zoomed in way too far, so I couldn't, all I saw was black. So,
Wunderbar.
okay. So, but when you pinged and said I live here, now I see.
You live in this cluster of homes, yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, it's not indicative of, there are more than 5 houses there. It's just that's a general representation of the city itself.
Sure.
Yeah, and you kind of creak open the door. The sun is up at this point, and you know that your timing is going to be just about perfect if you head your way down. Is there anything that you would do? Is there anything you'd look for on the way down?
The only thing is I would, I would probably make my way past the Wainwright's shop to remind the Wainwright's wife that I'm leaving, and she had promised to look in on Dad.
Yeah, as you head out towards them, you kind of catch her gaze, and it's a like a blonde lady, later in the years, but friendly. She kind of smiles and waves towards you.
So, yeah. So once we connect, I mean, if she waves at me and I'll just kind of give her a thumbs up and point, letting her kind of know that, hey, I'm out of here. And if she nods or something and acknowledging
she
that,
waves and says, "Good luck. We'll take care of him."
and I'll thumbs up, and I'll head towards the outpost.
Cool. Yeah. You head down the street the same way that you would every morning, except this time, instead of veering to the right and heading into Sandy Pitchers to catch the latest gossip or meet up with an old friend, you head left and make your way towards the Rising Tide outpost. You see two figures there, a larger figure wearing chainmail and a much more lithe figure wearing like a billowy beige outfit, having a conversation at the closed door of the outpost.
I'll kind of do a look around at the building and such.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, they're both standing maybe about 5 feet away from the door at this point, discussing something. It doesn't. Why don't you give me a perception check?
Perception. That's an 11.
An 11. Yeah. There are. It's kind of the same thing, right? Like the second story seems to be, recessed with not a lot going on. The only thing that you notice here that is out of place are the two figures conversing.
Morning, gentlemen. Do I check in with you guys, or what's the plan?
I was hoping you had more information than we have. I got here first. Place looks empty. Knocked on the door, no answer.
Oh, okay. So you guys are new, or okay. Have you guys? Has anyone gone around to the back or tried to check anything out?
Got here about 5 minutes ago. Just knocked. That's all I've done.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go around the back then and see if one of those doors is open or if there's anyone back there, and
sure.
I'll report back.
Good luck.
Yeah, you walk around to the back of the house, to the back of the building, and it's more simple stonework, fresh, right? Really well constructed and recent. But the quick look around, it doesn't appear as though there is a back door to the place. The walls it isn't a flush square. The beginning, the where the door is slightly narrower than the remaining structure, but it doesn't appear to have another entrance on a quick look.
All right.
With that, we're going to cut to Zarl'Gug. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's about it, right?
Cool. Cool. So you've slept later than they have ever let you sleep at the monastery. You wake up as the sun rises. You begin readying your belongings. Why don't you describe your character to me?
All right, Zarl'Gug is this hulking 6'5" half orc. It's a grayish green skin, dressed very modestly, typical monk outfit. So he has a saffron robe, quarter staff that's standard issue for everyone at the monastery. His hands are wrapped, and he's just wearing some simple brown leather sandals.
Cool. Yeah, you're readying your things, kind of packing up what your belongings are. Is there anything they haven't made you, when you joined this monastery, they haven't made you relinquish all of your belongings. Most of your valuables you donated, but they allowed you to keep mementos or things that had personal significance to you. Is there anything like that that you've hung on to?
Yeah, so the most of the things over the last 3 years in the monastery, most of it Zarl'Gug has gotten rid of because it comes from an unhappy past. But there are just 3 things that he has held on to. He has a set of bone dice. He has an infantry insignia from his time back in the military, and he has a banner from let's say a defeated rival.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So taking care of those belongings, you kind of wrap them in that banner as they hold special significance to you. Prior Tander, a balding red dragonborn, under whom you've trained since you joined the fold, approaches and stands at the doorway. You got everything?
And it's been nice and peaceful, and I really wish you guys would let me stay, but I am on my way. You sure I can't convince you to let me stay?
He shakes his head and he says, your way is clear, but it isn't here. You have to find what it is that bothers you, and we've taught you how, but you need to learn what. He kind of takes a step back as you sling your pack over your shoulder. He nods.
All right, I'm on my way, I guess. So, Zarl'Gug is still going to very hesitantly, still kind of wondering whether this is a test, just kind of hesitantly make his way out the doors.
As you go to leave the monastery, you hear Tandor call out. Says, "Wait."
It's a little bit excited. Zarl'Gug's gonna turn around.
Says, "Never tell anyone where we are."
Yeah. Oh. So he's gonna look really crestfallen and go, "Yeah, of course. Is that all? Anything else you might want to say?"
He says, "You'll know when you are able to return." He kind of smiles at you and nods his head. He says,
"Well, it's been wild. I'm heading off. For real?"
He nods. He says, "It's for the best."
Right, so I'm going to be noticeably crestfallen, shoulders sloping, just going to turn and leave disappointed.
Like the instant that you cross the threshold of the monastery doors, you hear like a and the door shuts behind you. You look out.
Yeah.
You look out into the endless sand dunes. There's one of your previous brothers standing outside, as you had done many times, frivolously sweeping the sand from the pathway, only for it to immediately become blown back into the path. And he very dutifully just keeps his eyes down and is brushing the sand away, you walk past him and he doesn't say anything. You continue on the path south towards Jadara. Your monastery was about halfway between the city of the town of Jadara and the large mountainous oasis to the north. You've been to Jadara several times when the monastery has asked you to make supply runs, or potentially to pass some sort of letter on to someone who would pass it to another branch somewhere. So you're relatively familiar with it. Why don't you give me an intelligence check to navigate?
It's not going to be great.
And you've done this before, so we can say with advantage.
All right, that's going to be a 9.
A 9. The sun is up, and you remember. All right, so the sun rises in the east, and then it goes north. So you kind of like put your thumb up, lick it, test the wind, and decide. You're headed south, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out the direction that you were heading. It's a while, it's an hour or two, and you feel as though you're beginning to run late into the. You don't want to be late to the very first meeting with this organization. So you begin to kind of jog. Is there anything that you do specially to guard yourself from the elements as you walk, or?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say, Zarl'Gug being both being a soldier and a half orc, he's very heavy footfalls, maybe tempered a little bit by years of training with the monks.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of very heavy set running, but at the same time it's a little bit dexterous, probably not very flexible or fluid, but still he's quite confident and quite sure in his steps.
Yeah. And with that, you kind of make a break for it. You're like, shit, I got distracted. The sun, it's to the west, not the north. What was I thinking? And you make your way south. You enter the city of Jadara from the north, quickly hurrying past Mayor Crowley's manor with the immaculate garden of plants that you would not expect to see in a desert. There are several fruit-bearing trees that are extremely well manicured. Why don't you give me a perception check?
Hopefully it goes a little bit better this time. And it's a 10. Oof.
A 10? That's fine.
Terrible
Yeah.
rolls.
You catch enough of a view of the oasis. Every time you walk into town, you've spent, especially when they've sent you on some god-awful errand, time at the oasis. But with a 10, you catch a satisfying enough glimpse of the beautiful water to not have it distract you further. And you quickly hurry south. You see a nicer dressed, or at least a well-dressed human who appears to be casing the Rising Tide outpost. And you also see two other figures standing at the front door having a conversation. You three watch as this large, pretty haggard still looking half orc comes running up out of breath.
Well, did I get here in time? Am I late? Have they all gone?
Actually, we were hoping you were the one we were waiting for, but there's this. I'm going to look around at the others. We've got the right day, right? This is the right day?
It's the information I have.
Do we, would we have a name for the person we're supposed to meet, or is it just the office, the outpost?
Yeah, it was just the information was to be here around this time. As you guys now kind of coming together from various at various times, but all roughly at the same time. Now would be the time if you'd like to introduce yourselves to each other as you kind of figure out what the next step is supposed to be.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess we're probably going to end up working together or whatever. So, I'm Titus. I'm from the town here, and so.
Yeah, Titus, it's strange. You look around, and there aren't. No one else was interested, or at least no one else was accepted. You don't. Everyone here is from out of town.
Yeah, I think maybe I've seen you before. Kind of talking to Zarl'Gug. I think you've been here to the town before, right? I think I've seen you, once every couple months or something.
Oh, yes. So, hi, brothers. I'm Zarl'Gug. I come from the monastery to the east, west. It's out of town. It's somewhere. So yeah, I think I might have seen you before. That's just talking to Titus here. You're you've performed around here, I think, maybe.
Oh yeah, if you've ever come into the Sandy Pictures, yeah, you probably saw me there.
Oh well, as brothers of the monastery, we don't partake. This is very obvious. Yeah, he's not doing a very good job of lying.
Yeah, you see.
He's just looking really shifty. No, we don't go to taverns and stuff.
You see,
Oh, of course not. Yeah. But they got great food there. I'm sure that's what I've seen you there. I don't partake as well, but yeah, the food is good there, and I'm pretty sure that's what I saw you doing there.
I'm gonna nod very fervently. Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah, as you guys kind of stand around, briefly introducing yourselves to each other, the door that you had knocked on slowly creaks open, and then it forcefully opens out towards you. You guys have to kind of take a step back as it swings wide, and before you stands a woman wearing breastplate, like a nice clean silver breastplate, relatively tall, brown curly hair, kind of olive skin. Why don't you guys give me a perception check?
That is a 24 for me, natural 20.
Nice.
Ooh, that's a 12.
12.
5.
5.
8.
8. Nice. Cool. So the only one who notices, Titus, you see on the she's wearing a blue bandana almost, but it seems to be incorporated in part to the shirt that's being worn under her like outer metal armor, and on that blue bandana there are three white lines that look like waves, kind of emblazoned on the armlet that she has. She swings the door open and says, "Sorry, we were waiting. We're not quite set up yet, but please come inside." And she like kind of stands and holds the door open.
I hastily enter.
Yeah.
Trying to beat everyone out because I was there first.
Yeah. Olomaer kind of like boxes you guys out slightly, like nondescriptly, but like you can tell, right? Like, and it hurries inside. She has a big smile on her face too. She doesn't seem to be very brooding.
So is Olomaer bigger than Zarl'Gug?
Yes.
Okay.
Olomaer is taller. I feel like Zarl'Gug is stockier
Wider.
Yeah, he's thicker for now.
for now.
Still young.
Yeah,
young
but Zarl'Gug is going to
young
pretend
buck.
to be. Is trying to be very nonchalant.
you need to drink
Probably
your-
just gonna hang back a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Who else? You guys going in or?
Yeah, Leto
She
like
kinda
very carefully take off like the part of his head wrap that covers his face, you
Right.
know, so that he's actually can see his face finally.
Right.
And you notice a bit bluish, like a very pale blue tint.
Uh-huh.
And he'll step in and follow Olomaer.
She nods as you walk past. She goes, "Don't be shy. It's too late for that. Come on in."
I'll kind of nod and gesture to Zarl'Gug to go in first.
All right. So he's gonna try to effect a nonchalant swagger as he goes in.
Still
Probably not
kind
very
of
well.
Sweaty. Still kind of sweaty from the run. Like trying to like put himself together. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys walk in, and there's maybe 4-5 foot long entranceway. No carpets. The room opens up to a very tall ceiling. It's probably 20 feet tall, and you're in a large chamber now that is made of newly constructed stone. That it's got a chill to it, just because it's new and hasn't had a chance to be fully heated through from the beating sun. So it's actually a pretty nice temperature inside. But in this large room that encompasses from the outside what you imagine to be most of the first floor, it's very plain. There's a large table in the center that looks like it could seat maybe 20 people at it. Wide and long, made of really nice wood. On the far end of the wall, there's a small lectern that is also made of wood that's up on a slightly raised platform that's backed up against the far wall. Everyone give me a perception check.
It's a 9.
6.
Ooh, 3.
16 for me.
Nice. I think it's great because I have 3 wisdom characters and you guys are fucking up your perception.
Young, man. I can't not taking everything in. I'm overwhelmed. With too much intake.
Yeah,
Too much
I
intake.
mean, quite the opposite, however, in this room, because there's practically nothing to intake here. In that you see on opposite walls, from when you first walk in, there are 2 doors. There's nothing that's backed up against the far wall. And there's like a single staircase that when you first walk in the room kind of walks up along the side wall, up, over, up, and around the back that opens into, there's like a doorway. It's all pretty exposed. There's a simple railing, but the theme of this room is simplicity. There are no markings on the wall. There's a small Titus you would see on the left wall. There's maybe a 3x4 foot piece of wood that is just stuck to the wall. But other than that, there's no insignias or anything else. There are 10 chairs around the table, but it looks like you could fit a lot more. You guys kind of walk in and take in the room, and the woman comes from behind you and says, please, take a seat anywhere you'd like. We were expecting, I was expecting the rest of our group to be here, but they're not here yet, so have a seat and we'll get started without them.
Okay. I will find a seat. I guess, wherever she's standing, or after she says that, does she head over to the lectern, or does she just?
Yeah, she like as she's saying that, as she kind of walks around your group, around the table, towards the front of the room.
Okay. Then in that
Trying to
case, I
take the
will.
seat closest to the lectern.
Sure.
Or is a seat closer than others?
Yeah. It's kind of that, like, it's a large square table, so your coin flip, right? Like, because you could be seated furthest from the lectern but facing it, or you could be seating closer to the lectern but like kind of, having to be on one of the sides, or you could sit with your back to it.
Well, noticing that Olomaer took the spot I was going to take, and I don't want to sit right next to him to seem, pretentious. So I'm going to go off to like one of the corners, of that front corners, and turn my chair so that I'm facing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the further seat, but the one facing the lectern head on.
Yeah, got it.
Leto's gonna come up and take a chair and kind of scoot it away from the table, and then he just sits down on the floor next to it.
Nice, dope. Yeah.
He's in like a cross-legged position.
Yeah, I'm with that. She sees that and she kind of smiles at you. That's not out of the ordinary, at least not what you would expect. And she she walks up to the lectern and takes a small box, like reaches up and sets it up on the top of it. So it's obvious to you that it exists, right? Not very ornately decorated, but clearly made of some kind of metal, and places it on top of the lectern. Somewhere else, there's that same goblin panting heavily as he's sprinting through the desert, and he's having a real hard time traversing through the sand. However, back with your group, the woman begins speaking. She says, well, I'm so happy that we were able to finally bring a chapter of our lovely organization to such a wonderful town like Jadara. I'm Deputy Progressor Jasmine Balat, and I'd like to personally welcome you to the Rising Tide. She smiles and steps away from the lectern. She says, obviously, by being willing to join our group, that means two things. First, that you are exceptional individuals who we would deem good fits for the things that we try to accomplish. And second, that you, being the remarkable individuals that you are interested in progressing civilization. Specifically, for now, the civilization of your wonderful town. She continues. She says, with the rising tide, it's symbolic. We want to raise all ships of civilization against, and she looks at you, Zarl'Gug, and says, against the wilds. You look as though you had a hard time getting here today.
No. I mean, I'm very familiar with the place, and us monks, we're just one with nature.
She nods.
No problem.
She nods and says, fair point. However, we try to guard against not nature itself, but the things that lurk out there. There are more monsters, more demons, more cults and bandits and sand traps and jungle. There are more of those than there are good, just people. And we're trying to extend the fight and extend our reach to make everyone's ship rise. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
She says, we have 3 tenets that we live by. The tenets are progress. You are always moving onward and upward. You're never looking back. Fairness. Dues are due, and they're just. And individuality. You will be who you should. And she kind of looks down at you, Leto, and smiles.
I'll like smile back, definitely. Appreciate that.
And our motto, and she kind of gestures back towards the empty wall and looks, says, sorry, I'm used to doing this with a little bit more stuff. But the motto of our organization is individuality progresses fairness. And you've been asked to join our family because each of you is special in some way. Your skills, while limited now, and she kind of looks, she's staring at you, Zarl'Gug, will blossom into much more as you forward our goals. Should you decide to swear your oath today, you'll be welcomed into our family as novices, and together we will begin establishing the rising tide here in Jadara. Now, you've heard of our goals. Are you guys ready to swear your oaths?
Where do I have to sign? Is this like a blood oath? What do we have to do to get this rolling?
She laughs. She says, well, it seems as though the way you entered and the way you sat, you're very eager, so please, come here.
I approach, stand up and approach.
Yeah, you kind of push, you push your chair in?
Yes.
Yes, wow, I'm shocked. You stand and you watch as this large figure, your weapons are sheathed, yeah? Like they're stowed away on you, you're not holding them.
I would say my crossbow is sheathed on my back, but I'm going to say I have my shield and crossbow sheath. Warhammer's in my hand or over my shoulder. I'm carrying it around.
Okay.
As a show of strength.
Yeah. You walk forward, and she walks back up to the lectern, which is only another maybe a foot off the ground. So she's still shorter than you, but not by a lot. And she's kind of looking right at you. She says, well, swear an oath to me, the rising tide, and yourself.
I swear an oath to you, the rising tide, and myself.
She kind of looks good. Go on.
Said all three.
Yes. What oath?
I swear the oath.
But what do you swear? She
What-
says the oaths here are a little
Oh,
different.
progress, fairness, and individuality.
Yeah, that seems good. Make it what you would. Say what you'd like. Whatever you want is your oath. And make sure that what you say and what it encompasses is something that you can and will strive to achieve. It's more of an oath to yourself than it is to me.
I swear an oath to be brave, to prove my might and my strength in the progress, fairness, and individuality of the Rising Tide service.
She smiles and starts to clap. Do you guys join in?
Hesitantly.
Hesitantly, yeah. And she walks back and flips open that case that was up on the lectern. She removes a small silver ring, kind of looks at it, and looks at you. She says, most she kind of extends it out and she goes, "With honor, I give you this. However, I'm afraid it might not fit."
Take it from her and try to put it on. It probably doesn't fit my large hand.
You take it. Why don't we do this? Why don't you roll a D100? And if you roll less than a 37, the ring will fit.
They're oddly specific.
50? The ring does not fit. But you look, and it's a simple silver band that has the same insignia that is on her armband on the ring. And she says, "Well, maybe wear it around your neck. This is just to indicate that you've taken our oath, and any members of the Rising Tide who see you with it will welcome you as though you were one of their own. Be careful what you do with these rings, however. Not everyone is as pleased to see us as everyone else."
I don't have a necklace on, so I just pocket it inside my
She nods.
tunic.
She says, "Who's next?" She kind of gestures for you to head back.
I go sit down.
Who's next?
I guess I'll stand up
Mm-hmm.
and approach. Now, you said she's human?
Yes, she's
Okay.
human.
All right, and I will approach.
She smiles.
Do you want me to? Okay. I swear an oath to you, the Rising Tide, and myself to be the best me that I can be.
Wow.
And to promote individuality and fairness and progress to everyone, and to protect my brothers and sister in the organization. I hope it's okay. I called you. So obviously you're bigger rank than me, but what? Yeah, that.
She laughs. She goes, "That was pretty good." She starts clapping.
What are we supposed to? How are we supposed to address you anyway?
That's a wonderful question. She says, "I'm a deputy progressor, which means I aid in progressing the organization, and I aid in progressing civilization. You can call me DP. You can call me Ms. Ballet. You can call me Jasmine. Whatever's the easiest."
Excellent. Thank you, Jasmine.
She hands you the ring from the case and motions for you to sit back down.
All right, I will slip it on my finger and go sit back down.
She smiles down at the ground and out at you, Zarl'Gug, down at the ground, out at you. Her smile, it's weird, right? Like, she's been very happy this whole time. Like, friendly, but not in like a creepy kind of way. Just like a nice person. She gives you these like nice person vibes that honestly, it's kind of strange for all of you, right? Like, most of you haven't, I mean, potentially you, Leto, have seen like friendly people by trading, right? Like, you kind of have to be nice to them to do that. But the rest of you, it's weird. Like, she's nice. And like, for seemingly no reason, right? Just because she is. And she's kind of looking at you and smiling.
So Leto up to this point has just been like snacking on a bag of grasshoppers he has. It's kind of like loud crunching. And so he finishes the last one, like, just, gets a little grasshopper leg out of his teeth and puts it back in his mouth. And he'll stand up and he'll come up to Jasmine.
She smiles.
So I'll swear an oath to you, to myself, to the Rising Tide, to connect the cities of the shifting lands and all the people that live within them.
She smiles. She goes, short, to the point. Sounds good. And she starts clapping, yeah. Hands you a ring and motions to the table.
This time I'll try to sit on a chair, and I'm just kind of like awkwardly, like not used to sitting on chairs very clearly.
You see, like, Leto, like, sits down and, like, crosses a leg, and then he's, like, he leans forward, and he, like, leans back and crosses the other leg. He eventually ends up in this, like, the same position that he was seated in on the ground, but, like, up on a chair with his knees, like, higher up, like, at a higher angle. And he, like, settles in and kind of crosses his arms. And she, like, motions to you, Zarl'Gug.
Yeah, so Zarl'Gug's gonna walk up to her and just ask her, so just to be clear, this is a paid gig, right? It's not a volunteer thing?
I shake my head in disappointment that he's here like for the monetary value of it.
She laughs. She says, well, yes, of course, you'll be paid. We'll also, and she like motions to the room that would be off to your right. She says, we also house you, so that's kind of good, right? She goes,
yeah, so Zarl'Gug's gonna brighten up at this, visibly. So, all right, so he's at this point he's gonna look like he is just reciting something from memory. He goes, so I pledge allegiance to the rising tide, to you, to myself, to spread peace and understanding amongst all sentient beings in the world. Yes, that's it.
She laughs and she goes, did you practice that? That was great. And she
no, it's just a creed at the monastery I serve in, used to serve in.
Used to serve in. We'll get to that later. And she starts clapping. And then she closes. She removes the last ring, closes the box, and hands it over to you. It might even be tough for you, but you feel like you could probably sneak it onto the pinky finger. So
I'm gonna try to break off a little bit of hempen rope if I can manage that with my strength.
Sure.
Just enough to form a bit of a bracelet.
Yeah, give me. You can give me, if you're going to use strength, it's a higher DC. You're going to use dexterity to kind of unfurl just a little bit of it. That'll be sleight of hand, whichever you prefer.
All right. So sleight of hand, you said?
Sleight of hand or athletics, depending on how you break it. If you're trying to unfurl it, give me sleight of hand. If you're just trying to fucking, then it's going to be strength.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to unfurl it a little bit.
Yeah. So sleight of hand, please.
And that is a 12.
12. It's fine. It's fine. It's not like you had initially when you were thinking about it, you were going to take it off and braid it a couple of times to make it a little nicer, but you couldn't pull it off. So it's like a string with a ring, but it works and it's secure. And
yeah, so I'm just going to wrap it around my wrist.
She smiles as you sit back down, and she says, "Isn't that great? The rising tide is rising always." And she walks back to the lectern again. This time, she pulls up like a piece of paper, and she sets it up on the table, and you see her like skimming through something. She's like, "Well, welcome to the family. Welcome to the rising tide." Did I say that already? She's like looking down, looking back up. She goes, "I feel like I'm supposed to stall. Are there any questions?"
I've got a question.
Please.
Why is this room so big, and why is the door so big?
She nods and says, "Well, we like to be accommodating," and she points at Olomaer, "of all of our members. Some of them are bigger. Some of them are smaller. We figure the small ones can get through the big doors, but the big ones can't get through the small doors. So we want everybody to get in.
When's our first assignment?
Right to business. That makes sense to me. Well, you see her like looking around. She says, why don't I give you a tour of the place first? And she...
Prefer the assignment first. Tour later.
She laughs. We gotta, we're waiting on something. So let's go, let's take a tour. And she walks over to the other side of the room, right to where the board is. And she says, this is the job board. There would normally be lots of things fixed to this for things that people need help with. And that's kind of where you guys come in. You have to seek the jobs. But to seek the jobs, you have to be welcomed into the community. She looks at you, Titus. She says, I know that you're from the area. I know you're from the town. And while most people are happy that we're here, not everybody is. So work's a little harder to come by. You see her think. She says,
any leads?
I have some leads that one of our members who's bringing the banners is supposed to have with him, but you can see he and the rest of our group are running a little late. That was why I waited a little bit of time to let you guys in, hoping that they would show up, but they haven't yet. So let's continue the tour.
Are we waiting on more novices or just more progressors like you?
So they're wonderful question, novice. We're waiting on my aides to show up. I have several people who were coming after me from the hold, who were bringing our banners, who were bringing the leads, who were bringing, but they're just running a little bit late. So they're not, they're full-fledged members. They were once novices like yourselves, but they've gone, instead of down the adventuring path, they're kind of more like desk work. They weren't quite cut out for being out there meeting people and saving people from monsters. They were a little softer, which has its uses, but they're not. Oh God, I'm rambling now. And you see her like kind of like rub her nose. She goes. She pushes the door open that's next to the wall, or next to the board. She says, "This is the kitchen. There's nothing in here yet, but it's coming when they get here. And this is where we will, you will have access to the food and drink that we keep here, just as soon as we get it."
I'll pull out my bag of grasshoppers and set it on the table.
Did you offer it to...
Yeah, sure. Does anyone else want a grasshopper?
I'll take one. Can never have too much protein.
Yeah. Are they fresh, or are they like a little...
Oh, they're dried, I'd say.
Oh, they're dried? Okay.
A little crunchy.
Yeah.
And I'll just set them down where I expect the food to go.
Yeah.
Have I ever seen a furbolg before? I mean, do I know what Olomaer is, or is he just like some...
So yeah, he's humanoid enough. This is something that I kind of was jostling back and forth about. But I think the thing that makes the most sense, such in the way that, there's a water genasi and a furbolg, two decidedly more exotic classes, or races rather. It's infrequent, but not unheard of, right? It would be like someone from a very far away place living where you live. It's not common, but you know, it's not as though it's something that is shocking to see, you know?
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, the crickets are pretty good. The grasshoppers are pretty good. Not bad.
Crunch.
So, Jasmine, are we it, or I mean, are there going to be more of us, or?
She stands at the door to the kitchen and kind of closes it. And she says, "Well, for now, we like to have a more focused approach. We had many applicants, and we had many people who we were interested in. However, we felt it was best to start with a smaller group of people who were really able to establish themselves before branching out and gaining new members. That's generally how we do it when we start a chapter."
Okay.
And she circles around to the other side of the table and pushes open the other door. She goes, "And this is where you'll be staying."
Okay. What does the room look like? Is it like a barracks, or?
Yeah, as you kind of walk in, it's another very simple room. A pretty high ceiling. There are 4 beds in each of the corners. There is a large chest on the far side with several smaller end tables and several smaller foot lockers near each bed. She says, "It's not much, but you guys can make it however you want. Feel free to do whatever you want in here. This is your space."
Okay.
Not long as you guys kind of look around and you see, like, this place is fucking empty. You're like, there's nothing here, right? And as you're kind of taking in time to figure out, get the exact lay of your surroundings, I think that's a good time to take a break. So we'll take about a 10-minute break. So everyone is refreshed and feeling good. Pee breaks, water breaks. Good. Yeah, so you guys are kind of taking stock of the room that you're in, of the building that you're in. Jasmine has kind of taken a step back, and she says, well, feel free to make yourselves at home. If you need anything, please let me know. I'm going to go upstairs and try to figure out what the hell's going on. And you see she, like, what?
Before you go,
Yeah.
what? I mean, are we supposed to stay here? Is there something we're supposed to do? Can we go out, or what? What do you want us to do?
She laughs and she says, "Well, I think for now, I would say make yourselves at home. To be honest with you, by the time you were here, this was supposed to be decorated and stocked, and we were going to have plenty of things for you to do. I have never had this happen before. I don't know where he could be."
When were they supposed to be here?
They were supposed to have arrived early this morning.
Should we go search for them?
She kind of thinks, she goes, Yes, but it would be a needle in a haystack. They're coming from the hold, but I mean, the journey's long, and if they're not familiar with the area, who would know?
Do you have any way to communicate with them?
No. Look, just take some time, get yourselves set up down here. I'm going to go upstairs and attempt to plot a course, and then I'll be back and we can go from there. Sound like a plan?
It does sound like a plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
She
A
nods
plan nonetheless.
and trudges up the stairs around the perimeter of the entryway, and you hear the door close at the top.
That's the first thing that sounded like a plan so far today, but whatever. Yeah.
I was told there would be some type of activities here. Some type of something.
Have you all are any of you unpacking or?
Yeah, I guess that's probably, while we're talking, I'll probably start unpacking my gear and stuff like that. And, are all the beds like standard size? Are a couple of the beds larger for Olomaer and Zarl'Gug? Or,
They are, they're like, it would be like a king size. So they're pretty big, but, Zarl'Gug, you would probably be able to fit on it. Olomaer, not as easily. You would definitely be curled up on that.
Yeah. Used to it.
we could probably put a footlocker like in front of the bed, and that would extend it longer.
I'm used to fetal position. That's generally how I sleep.
Ah, all right. Well, if nobody minds, I'm gonna take this bed over here, and I'll gesture like to the back corner.
Take the bed closest to the door. If there's like a bottom bunk, imagine there's bunks. Are they bunks?
Well, he said king size, so that's probably
there
not.
are 4 bed in each one of the corners.
Oh, that's not like bunk beds.
Nope. Everybody gets their own bed.
All right, I'll take the one closest.
Really, honestly, I was like, am I going to do bunk beds? I was like, nah, no bunk.
I'm not there. I'm going to take a top bunk.
Wait, so when you say 4 beds in each corner, or do you mean 1 bed in each corner for a total of 4?
4 beds, comma, in each corner.
The door is right in the middle, so I imagine like. Okay, I'll take the front left bed.
Cool. Yeah, several minutes go by as you are divvying up beds and trying. Like you see Olomaer like kind of like test out the mattress and climbs in, and you're like, yeah, you're gonna have to be in the fetal position. There's no other way for this to work. But you're kind of used to it. The beds at the temple where you came from aren't necessarily your sized either. I think now, something that I want to do to kind of prod this along would be, I'm not going to do this very frequently. I'm not going to do this all the time. But I think this would be, you guys are walking into a place where you have something that is in common in the very least. And you may have seen each other around, but you're not super familiar with one another. I'm taking the stance in this campaign as having it be more, if you don't tell them, they don't know. So the implied statements aren't necessarily going to be implied, I think. I would like for them to be spoken between the 4 of you, just to kind of build more of that, I think, immersion into it too. So yeah, you guys are all there, and you've come from different places and seen some different things, and you all look strikingly different from one another. And you're not sure, what a monk or a druid or what your capabilities are. And also with that, you hear coming down the stairs, the footsteps of Jasmine. And she walks into the room, and you see that she's holding this piece of paper, and she glances up and sees you all kind of just standing there looking side to side and kind of, fiddling with your own belongings, not really saying very much. She says, look, you guys are a team. And although specifically right now I don't have anything on the job board, maybe you guys prefer the learn as you go, but I'm sure you guys are all capable of doing different things in different ways. And maybe building a plan around some things that you can do to benefit your other teammates. Maybe that's something that you could do while I try to figure out what the hell is going on.
Cool. We can do that.
She nods. She goes back now and sits at the large table, and is like poring over these couple pieces of paper.
So I'm gonna kind of look at Olomaer. It's a big hammer. You seem pretty comfortable with that. Have you seen a lot of battle?
Little bit here and there. Anything to show my strength, or the Lord who has empowered me with the gifts that I have to heal people, to guide them and provide them enhanced abilities. It's one thing I can do to show that I'm thankful, is to swing this hammer as hard as I can.
Now you talk about your Lord. Is that a symbol of him, or?
It is the good Lord Cord, Storm Lord, father of Lord of Lightning.
Oh right, yeah. I've totally heard of that before. Yeah, that's cool.
He doesn't make a deception check, Titus.
That's an 8.
That's an 8. Olomaer, you give me insight.
11.
He doesn't seem like he knows.
Let me tell you about the good Lord and Savior Cord. He is the most powerful God, and if you get a moment, I'd like to tell you about him.
Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of time for you to teach us. I got a feeling we're going to be spending a lot of time together. So,
and I will convince you that you need to say the prayers and pledge allegiance to the one and only true God, Cord.
If he's willing to watch over us and keep us safe and help things go our way, I'm good with that.
You hear at the front door, as you guys are having this conversation, the front door like bursts open, and you hear panting and like odd sounds. Are all of you still in the bunk room?
Yes.
Well, I assume we were, but since we could see her out at the table, I would imagine that the door is open to the bunk room.
Yeah, the door's open. And this like the door bursts open, and you hear panting, and you hear the voice of Jasmine say, "Oh gods," and you see her run past the door.
Okay, I'm gonna go and kind of peek out.
Yeah, she's kneeling down. There's a goblin laying there, like beaten, bloody, panting, saying that Jasmine is calling out, "What's wrong? What happened? Where have you been?" It's quite a mess. There's, he's like I said, he looks like shit. Looks beaten. He looks bloody. You hear Jasmine say, "Where's everyone else?" And there isn't a response.
Does he appear to be like severely injured?
He does.
So I'm gonna come out and like kneel beside him and start like muttering some words of prayer and like heal him with healing word.
Okay. What did you?
Like hush, hush, my child.
Sure.
Say some prayers and whisper in his ear and like cradle his head. You said it's a goblin?
Yeah. Like it's a goblin that had been dressed like to be traveling in the desert, but yeah, Does he have any
wounds that I can see?
Yeah. There are several cuts and bruises along his arms. His legs are bruised as well. He's bleeding from a part of his face.
So as I'm like saying as I'm whispering, muttering the prayers as I'm doing it, I'm also like hand motioning over like the wounds to try to heal those specific areas more intently.
Yeah. So this energy, you see, although there isn't a visual effect that happens when you cast this spell, it seems to almost inflate him a bit. What did you roll to heal?
6
hit points. Yeah. You see the bleeding is staunched, and he kind of sits up and looks at you and goes, thanks. They came out of nowhere. And Jasmine seems quite worried, and stands up, goes, how far along were you? And the goblin, still panting pretty heavily, says, we were maybe 5 miles or so from here last night, and they attacked us, and they killed Trevor right away. And I just ran. I ran, and then I hid. I buried myself in the sand until I knew they were gone, and then I ran here. And
who attacked?
Who were they? Describe them.
Might have been kobolds. I don't know. It was I'm not familiar with. I'm usually in the city.
How many were there?
God, there could have been 100 of them. It felt like it. I don't know. They killed Trevor right away. They started climbing on the wagon, and I just ran away.
How many were in your group?
That was me and Trevor.
Okay, and you said Trevor's dead.
Oh yeah, yep, definitely dead. I saw him. He's. It was a bloodbath. It was horrible.
Where was this? How far?
He said 5 miles.
Yeah, about 5 miles to south, I guess. We there was a giant storm, so we didn't want to go through that, so we kind of went out to the side. They took everything, I guess. They killed Trevor. Jesus, and you see him like, I fucking hate the desert.
Look at Jasmine, like longingly, like for direction.
She goes, yes. Yes, perfect. We can't endear ourselves to the people of Jadara if we're all dead. So, yes, if you could find them. She like looks at the goblin, says, "What? You said kobolds? 100 of them? Come on." He goes, I gotta be honest, I mean, it felt like there was 100 of them. They came out of nowhere. They had to have been waiting for us.
Are we? I mean, is this a familiar thing that we're used to? Like we've heard of wandering bands of kobolds ambushing people, or
I mean, do an insight check.
Is it unusual for the area?
insight? That's a 10.
A 10. I mean, it isn't impossible that there are kobolds. It isn't impossible that they could be attacked on the road, right? This dude definitely seems panicked. He definitely seems scared shitless. He's probably not the best source of information, but you don't think he's lying intentionally.
So let me get this straight, Jasmine. The hold is what, like 3-4 days away?
Yeah.
And you sent 2 people by themselves through the desert.
Well, we sent the one. Here's the thing. We had to get the banners made because we were getting a special Jadaran banner just for this town. So I had my aides who swore up and down that they wanted to do it, and you hear the goblin go, "Ah." Wait behind and bring the supplies after. I'm not surprised that they would have attacked Trevor. And you hear the goblin go, "Yeah, go ahead, say it." He's bigger, but still, we like to travel in smaller groups, so we're not walking in. We don't leave it makes, if you're trying to not be obvious. Shit. And she has been kneeling this whole time and stands up. She says, well, you guys wanted to look in the haystack.
So I'm getting excited with the possibility of like a real job or a real fight. So that's what my guy is like. So I'd be like, okay, guys, does anybody else need to get ready? Because we can go right now.
What time of day is it, by the way?
You guys have been here for maybe an hour or two.
Okay, so it's still like mid-morning.
Yeah, still mid-morning, not noon yet. It is not the hottest part of the day.
Well, let's see. 4 of us, that's 25 kobolds apiece. That's not a problem.
He goes, yeah.
So, Zarl'Gug, he obviously has a thirst for excitement, but at the same time, he's just trying to temper it a little bit with the serenity that's supposed to come with being a monk. And he goes like, yes, we should. Yeah, but let's go seek them out. For the benefit of retrieving the supplies, of course.
So Leto's been hanging back from this a little bit. He's a little shyer compared to the rest of the group, I think, outside of his tribe. But he hears that we're thinking about maybe going on an expedition. So he's going to quick do Druidcraft, and a little orb of light appears in his hand to predict. He heard there's a storm that Trevor mentioned. Or, sorry, what's this goblin's name? It's not Trevor. This goblin
we didn't get his name.
Okay. New goblin. He mentioned a storm, and so I'm gonna do a little Druidcraft to see, like, are we gonna run into something bad, or like, what's the weather gonna be like?
Okay, cool.
Oh, Zarl'Gug is not used to magic, so he's just taking a step back and go like, whoa, what is that?
Oh, just a little prediction. Want to see what the land's got in store for us.
Yeah, roll a D100.
That'd be a 44.
44. You think it's going to be, first of all, it seems as though the weather will be what you would expect it, what your travels have shown you. And you estimate that your prediction is fairly likely to be accurate. So, high winds, sand, but nothing overwhelmingly horrifying.
Gotcha. All right. I was kind of so you'll see a little like swirling sands and the little glow of light that appears in my hand, and then I'll close it off and just kind of. I won't say anything yet. I'm just kind of watching everyone. I've been hanging back from this anyways, but
yeah. So Jasmine like stoops down and helps the goblin to his feet. You see, he's kind of you see like Olomaer. You know that while you didn't like cure everything that was wrong with him and bind up all of his wounds perfectly, he should be feeling like way better than he is acting like he feels right now. He stands up and he's like kind of limping and still panting. He's like, I gotta lay down.
Would I interpret that as him being under the influence or possibly like poisoned or cursed or some type of
an insight check?
Some type of something else going on aside from just him acting like he's
right.
Oh, 6.
It's hard to tell. Maybe you didn't heal him as well as you thought you did.
Looking at my hands, like these things heal, right?
Apparently, but maybe not. Jasmine says, "Look, she shows the map to the goblin, and has a quick conversation with him, and the goblin like nods his head, and she spins the map back around and folds it up and hands it out to you guys. Says, this is most likely the path that they have traveled to get here. And the goblin comes over and puts a mark on the map with his finger. Says, I think like here, maybe here. I don't know.
Now
this is that road, the red of the road, correct?
Well, not a road, but those are like frequented
pathways.
Yeah. Frequent, like
trading routes.
Well, yeah. Like that would be those would be like the fastest, most efficient way to go while avoiding major hazards.
Yeah, this area in the middle here that I'm pinging, what is that darker area?
So those are dry heat storms.
Gotcha.
That regularly occur there. They'll shift and occur elsewhere in the world, but they're certain to be found in those regions. You'll see it in the center, you'll see them in the northeast, and you'll see them in the southeast as well. They're certain to occur there, but that doesn't mean that those dry heat, those desert storms won't exist elsewhere. It just means that it is more common in those regions.
I'm going to reach into my pouch and pull out my dice, and just kind of roll them and kind of scoop them up, put them back in my pouch. Guys, I mean, yeah, we need to figure this out, but we should probably treat this as a recon mission. And I'm going to look directly at Olomaer and be like, you know, he said he thinks, I mean, assuming it wasn't 100, but let's say it's 20. We're probably outmatched here. And before you go, and I mean, before you go and start saying I'm scared or anything like that, a mouse doesn't take on a hawk, not because he's a coward, but because he's smart.
as he's doing this, I'm like gripping my warhammer and just like squeezing it. Like the fact that he's like questioning us going to fight and show our strength disappoints me.
Well, if we expect this to be scouting, perhaps I can help a little bit. And you'll see me pull out of my my satchel. I have the pelt of a jackal, like a tanned hide sort of thing, and I'll kind of like put it around my back, almost like a cloak. But as I do so, I turn into a jackal. So it's kind of like this strange thing where the pelt is much smaller than my like arm wingspan should be. So like I shouldn't be able to put this on like a cloak, but I kind of do. And I shift and I become a jackal that's kind of sitting on the ground right there.
Wow.
And I'll just kind of pat over to the goblin. And I'm going to sniff him. I'm going to try to get a scent.
Sure. Give me a perception check with advantage.
All right.
Very cool.
Is that Leto?
14.
14. Noted. You
And
you smell
I'll just
him.
kind of sit down and be there for a little while as a jackal.
Yeah. You see the jackal. What does it look like? What is it? Is it gray, red, brown?
Yeah, probably brown again. Like I imagine a lot of the desert animals have skin that's the color of sands.
Sure,
like
yeah.
brown with like different speckled spots on it.
Mm-hmm. Any eye markings?
Yeah, I guess I actually haven't seen a jackal in a long time except for like pictures.
I
So,
don't
but
know.
yeah, let's say like there's like a little raccoonish kind of half moon thing
Yeah, I
over
don't
his
know.
eyes.
I mean, figure something so people know you're not just so your buddies your
yeah.
buddies can distinguish you.
Definitely. And I just looked at a picture of a jackal for reference. Yeah, I'd say there's like
Yeah,
a
you
big
just stab the wrong
Time out.
jackal.
Do they have eye markings? Because I just made
they
that up.
do not. They mostly have
okay.
markings on their back.
On their back.
But I would say that like the back is like a big zigzag white on
There
it.
we go. Perfect.
Help you identify me.
Perfect.
So
yeah,
I'm gonna kind of take my cues. I'm gonna look at Olomaer and Zarl'Gug and see if they're like freaking out about this, and however they're reacting, I'm just kind of gonna do whatever they're doing.
what do you-
I am naturally like very comfortable with animals, so my instinct is just to pet him immediately because it's a dog. It looks like a little dog. So it's like,
Sure.
oh, hey, good boy. I'm just gonna because I don't associate the two like it's really Leto. It's a dog, and I
Yeah.
love as a fearbold loves animals.
What is that? Object permanence, right? Like
I see a dog and I instinctively like try to give him a treat. And
Leto's not here, but there's a dog, so that's great.
didn't put two and two together. I don't think it's Leto. I think it's a dog. Like, hey, good boy.
how are you reacting, Zarl'Gug?
Yeah. Zarl'Gug is usually very comfortable with animals, but I guess he's a little bit surprised that Leto just transformed into a jackal right in front of everybody. So he's kind of just standing a little bit off to the side, just eyeing Leto a little bit warily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you see this in Jasmine. She's like, see, now you've all got your own things that make you special, that make you exceptional. This happens to be one of his. Now, if I were you, I would hold on to that scent and attempt the best you can. Hi, Summer. To make your way to try to find where the caravan, where our wagon was attacked. She kind of picks the goblin up like a sack of potatoes and like throws him over her shoulder. She had been like, she's aware that he's kind of hamming it up a little bit. Like, it feels like now that he has an audience, right? Like he's like playing into it a little more, and she like
Goblin's a drama queen.
Yeah, like sack of potatoes him and like carries him into the kitchen.
Jackal Leto will like hop up onto his bed and like get some stuff out of his like just kind of rummaging his nose in his backpack for a little while and just kind of see him just like burrowing in there.
Yeah.
After like maybe 20 minutes of whatever you guys else are doing, I'll turn back into my Genasi shape.
Yeah. So he regains his form, and you see him bird like is it? It's another slow. Is it slow or is it quick?
I would say it's if I'm controlling it, if I didn't like run out, it would be slow. I would kind of like gently like remove the pelt and like just there's a person there, like kind of rolling it up, and I put it back in my satchel. But if I ran out of time, it'd be a little more of a boop.
Yeah.
Magic Man's back.
So is that something you do, or is that like a magic fur or something like that?
Something I do, but I need the pelts. I can't just pick anything I see. I need to I need the help of this pelt I've prepared to do this.
So if I tried to wear the pelt, I'd just be some dude wearing a pelt.
I'll toss you the pelt.
Okay. I'm gonna try to mimic what he did and kind of like, and it's probably like a little kid's cape.
Yeah, you like throw it over your shoulders and you see Titus like crouches down slowly, and then he gets on both of his hands and knees and looks up and make a, what would that be? Make a, I'm gonna say perception check.
Who, me or them?
You.
Me. Make a perception check.
Yeah, say perception check, and I will
See
explain why.
That's an 8.
That's an 8. Cool. So you're not sure if it's one of those things where like you see yourself as yourself no matter what. So you're not entirely sure if it worked or it didn't work. You know, you're like, because you see your arms, but you're down and you kind of feel like you might be a dog. You feel like you might be a jackal. Like you feel like that might be the case.
Okay, I'm gonna. So, guys, am I a jackal or do I just look stupid?
Looks like you're not a magic man.
All right, I'll stand up and toss Leto back his pelt.
Wait, so can you do that with any animal skin? Like if we fought a dragon, could you turn into a dragon if you had its pelt?
No,
That's cool.
that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I've heard stories, but I think that's a little beyond me. No, something simple, something frankly generally weaker than me. But it's good for scouting. It's good for tracking. It's good for hiding from game that I'm hunting. That's about it.
So
Well,
do
guys,
you taste like a normal jackal?
You know?
Emergency food. You know, it's just,
Yeah, No, you'll have to find out if I ever die of starvation and you're still hungry. We'll see how that goes.
Let's not go eating.
For now, let's go for grasshoppers, though, and I'll toss them a grasshopper.
Let's not go eating our brothers, though. Google.
That's yeah. Well, if we're gonna do this, I mean, we should probably do this before the day gets too much longer, because it's gonna get really hot.
Says the one who isn't wearing this chainmail.
Yeah, hey, you do you. All I'm saying is, yeah.
The day is young, shall we?
Right. Yeah, let's go.
Wonderful.
Hey, did your cord guys, is that what happened with the goblin there? That I saw he stopped bleeding. Was that cord?
I told you I am gifted many abilities by the great and powerful cord.
That's cool. That's cool. All right.
So you guys make your way out of the Rising Tide outpost.
Should we ask her if she's got horses or camels or something that we could ride, and we'd obviously get there quicker?
Are you asking your group? Or are you asking...
Well, I'm asking the group if they think we should.
I would definitely appreciate riding a horse or a camel
Yeah.
as opposed to hiking the
We should ask if she has literally any equipment that could help us, any supplies, any rations, anything, weapons.
Well, I mean, it looks like we've all got our, he's certainly, Olomaer's definitely got a weapon, and
like point my warhammer at. I just like, you're damn right I do.
so, and we probably won't be gone too long that we need too much rations. But I'll jump back in there really quick and ask her if she can give us something to ride, and I will hop back in. I'll go back through the door and find Jasmine and ask her if she's got horses or camels or anything that would get us quicker.
So you walk back into the outpost and head into the kitchen where you watched her go. You see that there's a small alcove off to the side in the back of the kitchen that has a normal sized doorway, a smaller doorway. She's back there where you assume that the living quarters of the goblin and Trevor would be. But this is another largely barren room. And as you approach and ask her for supplies, she turns and says, I know this isn't the best first impression, but our horses are with our supplies, which are with the wagon, so no. But if by some miracle you do recover them in the future, you would have access to at least 2 horses.
Cool. All right. We're on it. We'll report back.
And of course, I'll be paying you for this.
Just so we know, in case we run across remains, who is Trevor? Is he?
He's a large human male, blonde hair. He always carries an axe with him. He's kind of the muscle to.
Gotcha. All right. Cool. We're on it.
She says, "Thanks and welcome to the family."
And I will turn and go back out and meet up the guys. Yeah, we're screwed.
I see him open the door. I said, "What's the word?"
The word is no. So she said she'll pay us for this, but they have no supplies because the supplies they were supposed to have are actually the ones that Goblin Boy and Trevor lost on their way here to 100 kobolds. So that's a thing.
Anything else need to be readied before we head off?
No, let's.
Not for me.
Is anybody good at tracking?
Did you catch a scent there?
I did. I mean, I can't smell it now. We might want to wait until we're a little further out of the city. I can only be a jackal for so long before it tires me out.
Right.
But I just mean like when we get near the area that he indicated on the map, we may want to. Since we're looking at this was last night, so the winds might have shifted and buried any actual tracks.
Right. So I mean, I've spent a lot of time. I don't know if you guys noticed from my garb, but I'm from the. I don't think we've decided on a name for my tribe yet, but I'm from one of the caravans travels around here. So I've been through the area in pretty much every direction, but you can never tell with the wind. So I can't promise that I'll know where we're going.
Do you know how far the distance is between Jadara and the next city down?
Well, looking at this map, I would guess between 25 and 50 miles, but I don't actually know.
Does look accurate.
All right. Well, I mean, the weird thing is he said about 5 miles out, but he pointed like midway between the town. That looks like more than 5 miles, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah, we should be able to hit 5 miles in a couple hours.
Distances are hard in the desert, I think. He might have been right. He might not have been. It might have been a roundabout path. We'll see. But I'm happy to take a stab at leading us.
I don't plan on sprinting there, but I would like to move expeditiously to ensure that we get there before the remains are picked through, tracks recovered, scents lost, so on and so forth.
Sure. Yeah.
Seems fair.
All right.
So as you gear up to head out of town, uh, what is your marching order? Who's in the front? Who's in the back? I presume you're not walking, in a line like you're in primary school, but how are you walking? Who's adjacent to who? Who's something that I want you guys to try to get used to is during this game. When you're traveling, especially if you're going to be role playing while you're traveling, make it known your position in relationship to the rest of your party mates. Yeah. So what's your order? How are you walking? Maybe I'll say formation. Where are you?
So I would plan to be at least like 10, 15 feet in front of the group, trying to lead a little bit ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Again, using my experience of being from the area a little bit, or being traveling through the area. So I would expect to be in front if no one else objects.
I will immediately flank him off to probably off to my left, off to his left.
Yeah, his left as your left. So
yeah.
Okay. So if we want to just maybe do like a box formation, so we can have Leto and Olomaer, and then Zarl'Gug and myself behind them.
Sure.
Sound good to everybody else?
Good. Yeah.
Wait, you're doing it because you said that Leto's in the front, so Leto be like the diamond point, and then you two, and then one in the back, or?
Oh, when Olomaer said flank off to his left, I assumed that he just meant he was parallel with him. But
okay,
maybe
yeah, that's fine.
I'll be close. Yeah, I would say closer than 10 feet. I'd say between 5 and 10. I wouldn't let him be 10 feet in front of me.
Okay.
I take that as a challenge of like, no, I'm not letting you get that far in front of us. You're tracking us, but I'm tracking you.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so you guys head out, and what little path that exists in the town is almost immediately swept away as you cross out into the sand dunes. They're not massive here. It's not mountainous like it would be on the eastern part of the region, but it's still obstructive, right? Your normal straight walking path is having you up and down over gentle sloping sand dunes that in all directions you look and it's relatively the same. Why don't you guys give me a perception check as you travel?
8.
It's 23.
also 8.
It's a 7.
8, 23, 7. Cool.
Twice leading us.
Yeah. So, Leto, it's easy to... it's Leto, right?
Leto, yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
sorry.
fine.
No, Leto. It's... so, yeah, you're familiar with the path. And, well, not the path, but, the vicinity. And especially you feel comfortable in this part of the world, right? So as you're making your way through the sand and the endless sand, the winds coming from both directions, it feels like it's strange. Like it's almost like it's conspiring to, no matter which direction you look, you're getting blasted in the face with sand. It's very off-putting and uncomfortable, but you're familiar with it, right? And you're used to it. So your vision isn't necessarily obscured. The rest of you, however, you guys are like walking, your eyes are squinting, like I gotta do so. If you're gonna be wandering around in the desert, this is fucking awful. Oh god, it just keeps stinging and it's terrible. And you see Leto like kind of very confidently striding in the front, and you Leto, you've noticed like as you leave town, there was the faintest trickle of blood from the wounds that the goblin had suffered. And you, by the grace of whatever deity your character worships, happened to catch a couple glimpses as you're walking out of town. And as you're walking along the path, you rolled really well for perception. So you're capable and lucky to have seen a relative path that gave you a pretty good idea about what direction you were supposed to be traveling. It's an hour or so of walking, and you're kind of going in the same direction. You figure that given the fact that this creature was as panicked and as startled as he was, that probably he would just go in a straight line. And the trail that you found, seeing a fleck, I mean, honestly, a puddle here, a puddle there, they all line up to be like they're going in a straight line. And an hour passes and you're following this, and it's starting to get hot, right? It's starting to be very hot. The sun is as high as it can go in the sky now, with it being about noon, and it's really starting to heat up. This is something that you, while you expected it, it doesn't make it any more comfortable. So we're going to, once you get out, and this is going to be moving forward, but once you're out in the desert, we're going to do some different rules with regards to perception and total traveling, because like I said, it's, although you are people who are from this area, that's what lets you survive, right? It doesn't make it easier for you. It just means you're hardy enough to withstand it. So we're going to be, perception checks are going to be at disadvantage out here. Any any constitution checks that you need to make are going to be at disadvantage. Stealth checks will be at advantage, as it's easy as the winds whip and the dunes replace themselves. It's going to be easier for you guys to attempt to hide from things.
Now, as we travel, I'm counting on Leto and Olomaer to lead us forward. So I'm just kind of, obviously I can tell the direction Leto is leading me. I'm kind of following in his footsteps, but I'm going to be more focused on the sides and behind us.
Right. Yeah. And that's good. It's out here in that it isn't completely flat, right? But if there was a creature, or at least a large creature or a humanoid being in the vicinity, you think it would be relatively easy to spot them if they were not attempting to hide.
Is this some type of desert tundra? Do you have like small bushes, cactuses, other type of...
Out here, there's like very little plant life. When you make it, if you're looking at the regional map, when you make it to the areas that have these dunes here, you'll see that there are more instances of, permanent life, where you'll see trees and you'll see
seagrass and whatnot, like
growing things, more tumbleweeds and things like that. But these parts that are flat are largely the shifting part of the shifting lands, in that it's a lot of sand. There's not a lot going on. I mean, you'll occasionally see some miraculous plant that exists on the journey, but by and large, it's an ocean of desert.
I kind of picture C-3PO and R2-D2 going through the deserts of Tatooine, just nothing but sand.
Very much. That's very much what it is. Like I said, it's not quite as sharply contrasted hills and valleys. It is a little more flat, but there are still hills and valleys, if I'm doing a good enough of a job describing that. But yeah, so you have those. Your senses are keenly kind of honed in right now, Leto, and you're able to track far. Right? It's been now 2 hours. The sun being in the sky, it's starting to get hot. You guys think you should maybe stop and have a little bit of water before you continue. As well, especially you, Leto, that out here there is nothing to prove by not being hydrated.
Yeah, so I'm guessing there's no real shelter around us,
Not
but I'll
really.
still I'll stop and I'll try to put my coat over my head a little bit for just a tiny little extra bit of shade, and I'll take a big swig of my water skin and I'll offer it around.
Yeah. The majority of you have, seeing the oasis in the center of Jadara, refilled there. So
Yeah.
it's you've all come well supplied. Like I said, it's a harsh climate, but you're not fools. And you guys stop and catch a drink. I need everybody to make a perception check for me, please.
And did you say this is at disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
This is at disadvantage, correct?
9.
Ooh, 8.
13.
Still rolling. Give me a second.
Are we taking a short rest here?
8.
8. I would say it's more of like a, you
Quick break. Yeah,
call
10-minute
timeout,
break.
drink some water, get back out there. As you guys have stopped, and Olomaer, you ask, are we taking a short? Is this going to be, are we resting, or are we just rehydrating? Leto, you kind of instinctually hear something is wrong, something's off, and it's almost like as soon as you guys stopped and kind of came together, you glance, Leto, down at the sand, and from it bursts these two massive claws that leap out of the ground and attempt to grab onto Titus.
I react and swipe at it with my warhammer immediately.
Will roll for initiative. Your 8 perception check means you don't get to do that. The only one who is
20 again.
The only one who does not have the surprised condition here is Leto. The rest of you will be what is considered what is called the surprised condition. Are you guys?
Well, I balance out by having a 3 on my initiative roll, so we'll call it even.
But you do in fact get to take a turn, which is good.
Well, I got a 21 on my initiative.
He's about to dive back in. I'm not sure if this will do what I expect. I don't have experience fighting a creature that seems to burst through the sand itself, but I'm going to cast Mold Earth on the ground underneath it. I can make it difficult terrain. I can't make it impenetrable, but I'm going to try to the sand start vibrating and jumping up and down a little bit, and I'm going to try to make it challenging for this creature to escape us or hide from us.
Okay. Cool. What is your spell save DC?
My spell save is 13.
13. I'll note that for its next turn. Which brings us at the top of the round to Titus.
Okay, so having scrambled out of the way of and luckily evading these attacks, I am going to move as far away from it as I can with a regular move, so I'm not right within its reach.
Are you going to disengage?
Oh, that's right. I'm still crud muffins. No, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to mutter a rhyme beneath my breath as I cast dissonant whispers to it.
Got it. What is the spell save?
It's a wisdom save 13.
Got it. Wonderful. It fails. So what do you do?
Okay, so as I whisper to it and just have these strange sounds hammer at its brain, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction to move as far as its speed allows away from me.
Okay. So roll your damage.
All right. 13.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Nice roll.
Pretty good roll. Yeah. So with that, now, thanks for making it. It attempts to. It spins around, so now it would be facing you, Leto, and it attempts to charge past you.
Anybody get an opportunity attack on that?
Yeah, you would all get opportunity attacks.
Take a swipe with my hammer
Yeah.
as I see it fleeing.
18.
18.
That is a hit.
So I crash down and get a solid chunk on it for 9 bludgeoning. Come over the top.
Bam. Yeah, you crack into the back. You see, like, if you could see its beady little eyes, they're crossed. It seems very confused as it spins around, and you kind of catch it right where the tail connects to the rest of it, and you see its like ass buckle down, and it attempts to stand back up and continues to skitter off. Anyone else who would make
since it turned from me and whatever, I'm gonna quickly whip out my scimitar and attempt to slash at it.
Yeah, make your attack.
That will probably be a valiant miss. So it's a 9.
A 9. Yeah, you hit it, but you're feeling pretty proud of yourself from the spell that you cast, and you don't put your whole into it, and it just tink off the insect's arm.
Would it be an advantage with all of us being surrounding it?
Yeah, it would be. So you can
Okay.
roll that again.
All right.
Figured since we're all ganging up on it.
That is now an 18.
18, yeah, so that is a hit.
So that is 3 slashing damage.
3 slashing damage as you kind of chip down into the back of it. You catch it on the tail, a little bit of like gets on you. It was a decent hit. As the creature, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, there's Zarl'Gug as well. So he usually travels with his quarterstaff in hand, kind of using it as a walking stick. So he's prepared. He's just gonna let it fly. With the let's see, advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a 22.
That is a hit.
Oh shit, sorry.
You just click on the name where it says quarterstaff.
Yes. Yeah, so if you click on the word quarterstaff, it will roll damage for you.
If he has it set to roll damage, I don't know if he's. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, I didn't think I do, but I'm just gonna manually do that. 4.
So this isn't it? I believe it's a D8. Are you wielding it with both hands?
No, I'm just wielding it with one hand because I think I'm still a bit surprised.
Got
So
it.
just gonna swing with one hand first.
Yeah. What was your damage?
4.
4. Yeah, you catch it like as it's spinning towards you to try to flee away from Titus. You like kind of swing out and like jam it into like the little in the front. You kind of have to pull it back out, but you do some damage to it as well. And Leto, or would you make an opportunity attack as a
I don't think
charge?
I'd have had my weapon out yet because I had my shield and then I cast a spell, so
with
I
it.
probably haven't quite got ready for that.
Yep. So it charges past you. It is now 40 feet away from your group.
Yep.
Which brings us to Olomaer.
So I charge in the general direction. I see a fight, and I'm like instinctively, like, yes, adrenaline is rushing. I am gung ho. I'm gripping my warhammer. I'm chasing this thing full 30 on feet, chasing in that general direction. So I can't quite make it to swing the warhammer. So I mutter some words to my deity to strike down this evil beast, and the sound of a bell strikes out with the Toll the Dead.
Got it.
So it's a wisdom save, DC 13.
Wisdom save, right on. DC 13. Rolled a 19.
It would have hit 12 damage, so it hit the 12. I hit a 12 on the D12. Damn it!
Yeah, so the you would think it would reverberate through the armor, but for some reason you're a little too excited, and it doesn't have the effect that you were hoping for. That complete your turn?
Yeah, that ends my turn.
Cool. Which brings us now to the creature. Does it have to continue, or does that just happen the one time?
Let's see.
Yeah, it just uses its reaction to make it run away.
Yeah.
So it spins back around, and you see it dive under the sand. Which brings us to Zarl'Gug.
Ooh, all right. So I am going to I'm going to grip the quarterstaff with both hands, and I'm going to go and do a two-handed strike. Or we don't still have advantage, right? So now it's a normal roll.
Well, the creature has it ran about 40 feet away from you, and then it burrowed back underneath the sand.
Here's a question for you. When he rolled out 40 feet, did he roll through the difficult terrain that Leto made?
So I was under the impression that you made it difficult for burrowing.
Yeah, it's only a 5 feet cube, so it would have been like the feet underneath him. Unfortunately,
so
doesn't cut a lot out of him.
If he attempted to go through the thing, I was going to have a roll for that, but because he fled in the opposite direction, I didn't make it roll that.
Gotcha. I didn't know how far. I didn't know how wide of a zone that difficult terrain was.
Yeah.
Yeah, not super big, unfortunately.
Sorry, Zarl'Gug. So yeah,
right.
it has dove back under the sand, and it you don't presently see it.
Ooh, crud. All right. So I'm going to turn my back to the other guy so that I'm facing outward, so that we don't it doesn't catch me by surprise. And I'm going to spend a key point to do. Oh wait, I don't have to do that. I'm just going to take the dodge action for this turn.
Got it. Leto.
Yeah, so this thing had a stinger on it, right?
It did.
Okay, so again, not sure how well this will work because it doesn't go very far underground, but I'm going to take out a little bit of aloe vera like juice and I'll rub it on my eyes. I'm going to cast Detect Poison and Disease.
Dope. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Cool. Yeah, that's super cool. Diseases within 30 feet of you.
Yes, it doesn't go very far down. It's only 3 feet down. I'm hoping I at least get a little sense of where it's coming
here's
from.
the thing. It's 3 feet of wood or dirt. And the sand is much looser and is much easier to I feel like you would get more penetration into sand than you would either.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so you definitely can see, first of all, that this creature is extremely poisonous from the stinger. and you get a sense that it is approaching you again. It's probably about 20 feet off and about 5 or 6 feet under the sand.
All right, so I'll point to where it is in the ground and say like mark it right there, and that'll be my turn.
Cool. The top of the order, Titus.
Okay, so I am going to attempt to kind of back away a bit, probably 10 or 15 feet from the area that Leto pointed.
You're already about 20 feet away from it.
Okay, all right. Then in that case, I'm just going to take a dodge action, defensive action. I'm ready to leap out of the way if this thing bursts out again.
Okay, cool. Olomaer.
I'm going to rejoin the group. Am I able to? Are they all kind of huddled together?
The thing was like when he pointed like almost at your feet.
So he said he's like 5 to 10.
So it's over there. Oh, hey, Olomaer, you're there too. Watch out.
Yeah, like
how deep is he under?
You don't know that. You have no idea.
I'm asking Leto. I would call out to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I've pointed out that he's there, and I kind of know he's a little bit on the ground, but I think I only can say like he's below you is like the most I can say. I think.
So with that information, like I would just sprint back to the group, use my 30 feet of movement, join the group again.
So as you take a step out, the claw bursts up out of the ground and attempts to latch onto you.
Can I swipe it with my warhammer as well?
We'll
now
see
that
once this is resolved. 17.
No.
Got it. So it fails to grab onto you, and the creature reemerges as you attempt to leave its area of effect. So yeah, you'll be able to use your action. Nice.
24.
Nice, yeah. So you crit down into it. 13
bludgeoning damage.
13 bludgeoning damage.
Found you, motherfucker.
Yeah, it bursts out, and you like instinctively parry out, almost miraculously parry with your shield, and deliver a blow to the creature. It seems very hurt now. So there's your action. You still have 25 feet of movement, and you have a bonus action.
But I'm engaged with the creature, correct?
Yeah, the creature has burst from the sand and is now...
Did he already take, out of game question, did he already take his opportunity attack, bursting out and trying to attack me?
I'm not going to answer that question.
I'm just going to stay there. I felt that I got a solid hit. I'm feeling good about myself.
Yeah, I mean, the creature seems hurt.
I'm not running away as a coward. I'm standing my ground and saying, come get me.
Okay. Yeah, you see, clearly the creature decided to ambush the wrong. Which brings us now to Zarl'Gug. Actually, no.
Right, how far away?
I'm sorry. The creature's is next. So it attempts to slash at you again, Olomaer, with a 14.
Block with my shield. Laugh at him.
And a critical hit with the tail. No, with the other claw. I'm sorry.
And you have to make a dex save.
All right.
I call down the wrath of the storm after he hits me.
Give me 1 second. Let me roll this. Wunderbar. Okay. So this is a D8. So you suffer 14 bludgeoning damage as the creature wraps its claw. The first claw kind of grips at your shield and like pulls it to the side, and the second one lashes into your torso and clamps it tightly around your body.
Dex save.
Dexterity save. D20 minus 1. 19.
Jesus.
Ooh.
Burr, 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 burr. That's like my third crit. Told you I'd kill you guys. Anyway, so yeah, that crunches into you, and you feel your body like be compressed. It's now going to. You are considered grappled by the creature, and the tail is going to strike at you with advantage because you are grappled by it. 22.
Roll another dex save.
Got it. Well, that is assuming this doesn't, you know. Give me 1 second. I gotta see.
It's going to kill me.
I gotta see the damage for this.
This is going to kill me. You rolled an 8 on that.
D20.
That
D10
first
plus
D8.
2.
Yeah. I'm unconscious.
Ooh.
So the stinger
Ow.
of the creature buries deep into your chest. So you don't actually get to take a reaction to that as you fall on. You watch as the creature that has nearly killed itself, Olomaer, falls unconscious in its grip.
That's not good.
Which brings us to Zarl'Gug.
Ooh, how far away is he from me?
About 30 feet.
30 feet. All right, I'm gonna close right up to him. As I see Olomaer fall to the ground, I'm just gonna dash right up and swing with all my might with both hands, two-handed quarterstaff.
Yeah.
And let's see. Oof, I don't think that's gonna hit.
Yeah. What did you roll?
11.
An 11. Yeah, you walk and ineffectively crash down into the back, but you hit it in the meaty part of its body, and although it has suffered considerable damage, you fail to penetrate through its armor.
All right, can I use my key point to do flurry of blows?
Absolutely.
All right, so that's going to be 2 unarmed strikes. That's 8 damage. So it's 4 each.
So you still have to roll to hit them.
Yeah,
Oh,
flurry
right.
of blows are
Forgot about
extra
that.
attacks, just
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, so it's you get to make another attack. Except this time it's not with your quarterstaff, it's unarmed. So the damage threshold's a little lower, but you get to do it more times.
I'm really... Oh, wow. All right. It just keeps getting worse and worse.
Oh, no.
I got a 10 and a 7.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're ugh, and you you give it a couple of kicks in the side, but you hit it in the little scorpion knee, and you end up hurting your foot a little bit more than you would have hurt it.
Yeah, I'm just punching air, man.
Yeah. Leto, you're up.
Okay, so I have to decide between saving the guy. No, my one attack is an area effect, so I probably shouldn't do that. I'm going to cast Healing Word. I might need to run a little closer to actually get within range.
You're about 30 feet away from them now, give or take. I'm
Okay.
not super picky when it comes to distances and stuff, so long as it's about right.
All right, yeah. So I step forward and I cast Healing Word, just muttering a word in Primordial.
Yeah.
And
What's the word
trying-
sound like?
oh god, like a little squelching sound because it's probably Agwa's
Bloop.
yeah, a little gloop.
And you hear Olomaer, you hear in your ear, and you are brought back from the brink. How much?
4
did you
points of healing. The
4
lowest amount I
points of
can
healing.
give, but it's something.
Nice.
Come
yeah.
back and I'm
You come back, and the scorpion still has you in its claw, and it looks as though it's going to attempt to burrow into the ground again.
And then, so that's my bonus action. For my action, I will, I'll cast Frostbite on the creature.
Sure. What's the save on that?
Save on that. What? Why are you asking me what level this cantrip is? That's wrong. Roll 20. Come on. It is a Constitution saving throw, 13.
Got it. I'm so dumb. You know, it's funny because I looked at it. There we go. Con. That is a fail, so I got a 9.
All right, so it takes 2 points of cold damage as I just kind of call on like the air to coalesce around it and get chilly.
Yeah.
But does have disadvantage on his next attack roll.
Sweet, yeah. So you see, like the second claw that's about to like lash down into you is moving a little slower now, Olomaer. Which brings us to the top of the order, Titus.
Okay. I am going to shout to it, and I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery. The sand is rough and the sun is high, but you, my friend, are about to die.
Nice. I like the rhyme.
I'm a poet, so you know.
Is it a death? It's a save, yeah.
It's a save, yeah. It's a DC 13 Wisdom save.
Wisdom. I got a 0.
0. Okay. So
I rolled a 0.
About time you rolled something.
I rolled a 0.
so that is 3 points of psychic
Man,
damage.
That thing is so hurt, but it is still alive.
And it also gets disadvantage on its next attack roll, so it gets
Sweet.
double disadvantage.
I'll say it's on the next 2 attacks. I have no
Oh,
problem with
awesome.
that.
Cool.
Why
Thank
not?
you.
Olomaer, as you're being lifted off the ground, you like come to. It's your turn.
I am going to swipe this thing one more time.
Ooh.
As I wake up and just like swing at it like instinctively.
Yeah,
18.
that is a hit.
4 bludgeoning damage.
Sweet. How do you want to kill it?
I just crushed this thing off me, and as I'm assuming as I like swipe with it, it like lets go of me because it's dead, and then I proceed to just smash it until there's nothing but like little bits and pieces all covered in sand.
Nice. Yeah, you watch as this like burst of energy that the creepy whisper did to Olomaer that brought him back like surges up and strikes down into the little googly eyes on top of the scorpion, and with a bleat it falls to the ground, and you watch as Olomaer just continues to pummel it.
Guys, I think we're teamed up with Thor.
And then after like the adrenaline rush is like over, I've realized that I'm pretty still jacked up and I'm not feeling so hot.
Yeah, so as Olomaer continues his thing, like you see like there's still blood. You're not sure if it's his blood, you're not sure if it's the scorpion's like black insect blood. He's standing over it panting. And I think that is a good point for us to leave off for the evening.
All right.
Okay.
I think that went well. I hope
You already
guys
killed
had-
me once. You killed me once. You bastard.
Not yet. I'll get you.
Rolling ridiculous.
That
stuff.
thing was gonna take you. Ooh, it was gonna capture you. Ooh, it was gonna just take you in the sand, and that be it. Be it for
I
all
can't
of it.
believe you rolled that many 20s. You almost killed me with a crit.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Got him.
Good.
And
Not bad. You know.
my luck feat has already paid for itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, because that thing doesn't. I mean, the stinger. Whew, I didn't. Yeah. No, it's. So yeah, thanks for playing. If you guys want to stick around after I end the stream, but yeah, thanks everybody for checking this out. It'll be up soon, and we'll be back with the same kind of stuff next week. Hope everybody enjoyed. See you guys.
Bye.